Hello everyone and welcome. I'm excited to have you here today for our presentation on Wudu. This is the first slide, so I just want to start by sharing a little about what we'll be exploring. We'll cover the significance of Wudu, its steps, and how it plays a vital role in daily life. I promise to keep it engaging and informative. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the key moments from this narration. Naim B. Abdullah al-Mujmir reports that he personally saw Abu Huraira performing ablution, or wudu. He describes how Abu Huraira washed his face thoroughly, making sure it was well cleaned. Then he washed his right hand, including part of his arm, followed by his left hand and arm. After that, he wiped his head, which is an important step in wudu. Finally, he washed his feet, starting with the right foot, including the shank, and then the left foot, also including the shank. What's truly significant here is that Abu Huraira explicitly said that this was how he saw Allah's messenger, Prophet Muhammad FDFA, perform his ablution. This highlights the importance of following the Prophet's example precisely. Additionally, Abu Huraira shares an important observation from the Prophet FDFA. On the day of resurrection, people's faces, hands, and feet will shine brightly because of their perfect ablution. This emphasizes that performing wudu properly isn't just about cleanliness, it's also about spiritual brightness and purity. And he encourages us to increase this brightness by making our forehead, hands, and legs even more pristine, if we are able. This narration reminds us that wudu is not only a physical cleansing, but also a spiritual act that prepares us for prayer and brings us closer to Allah. Let me walk you through this important narration. Here, Amr bin Yahya is sharing a narration from his father, Abdullah bin Zayd, about how the Prophet Muhammad FDFA performed ablution. He describes how the Prophet poured water over his hands from a utensil, then washed them thoroughly. Next, he rinsed his mouth and cleaned his nose by putting water in it and blowing it out, and he repeated this process 3 times. After that, the Prophet washed his hands and forearms up to the elbows twice, ensuring cleanliness and completeness. He also passed wet hands over his head, both forwards and backwards, which is a key part of the ablution process. Finally, he washed his feet up to the ankles. This narration highlights the specific steps of ablution, emphasizing its importance as a practice of purity and devotion. It's a beautiful example of how the Prophet FDFA demonstrated thoroughness and mindfulness in worship. Remember, these actions are not just ritual. They connect us to the Prophet's example and help us prepare ourselves spiritually for prayer and other acts of worship. Humran, the freed slave of Uthman, shared an important account. He described how Uthman ibn Affan performed ablution, which is a key part of our prayer ritual. Uthman called for water and began by washing his hands 3 times. Then, he rinsed his mouth and cleaned his nose with water, also 3 times. Next, he washed his face 3 times, making sure it was thoroughly clean. After that, he washed his right arm up to the elbow 3 times, followed by the same for his left arm. Then, he wiped over his head, and finally, washed his feet, first the right up to the ankles 3 times, then the left in the same manner. What's remarkable here is that Uthman said he saw the messenger of Allah perform ablution in this very way. This is a powerful connection, showing us how closely his practice mirrored that of the Prophet. The Prophet then explained that anyone who performs ablution like this, and then stands for prayer, focusing completely without distraction, and prays 2 rakas, all their previous sins are forgiven. Ibn Shihab comments that this method of ablution is considered the most complete for prayer, meaning it covers all the necessary steps thoroughly. This narration from Sahih Muslim emphasizes the importance of performing ablution properly and with mindfulness, as it's not just about cleanliness, but also about preparing ourselves spiritually for prayer. It highlights how integral this act is to our worship and our connection with Allah. Welcome to this part of our Wudu guide. Today, I want to walk you through the key points to ensure your practice is both correct and meaningful. First, wudu, or ablution, is an essential act of purification before prayer, and understanding its proper steps helps us connect more deeply with our faith. The process involves specific actions that cleanse both our body and spirit, preparing us for worship. It's important to approach each step with mindfulness, focusing on cleanliness and intention. Remember, consistency in performing wudu not only maintains physical cleanliness, but also nurtures spiritual discipline. As we go through these steps, keep in mind how each action symbolizes spiritual purification, helping us prepare ourselves for a meaningful prayer experience. This guide is a reminder that wudu is more than just a ritual. It's a way to spiritually reset and align ourselves with our faith throughout the day. Let's go through the key points of performing wudu step by step. As a reminder, most actions can be performed once, but some can be repeated up to 3 times if desired. The only exception is wiping over the head, which is done just once. First, start by washing your hands thoroughly. Then, rinse your mouth and blow water out of your nose. Next, wash your entire face completely, ensuring every part is covered. After that, wash your right arm, including the elbow, and then your left arm, also including the elbow. When wiping over the head, do so from the front to the back, reaching the nape of the neck, and this is done once. Afterwards, wipe your ears, both the inside and outside. Moving on to the feet, wash your right foot up to the ankle, then your left foot up to the ankle. This step-by-step guide helps us understand not just the actions, but the proper order and importance of each step, connecting it all to the overall purpose of purity and readiness for prayer. Remember, doing wudu correctly is a vital part of our spiritual practice.